So in our previous discussion, we have seen how to map a TypeScript TS file to its JavaScript file, because the V8 engine, or you can say the browser, doesn't understand anything apart from JavaScript. So TypeScript is just for user comfortability, or like developers restriction, to put some restriction to the developer so that he uses object-oriented programming. So once it is compiled, it gets transformed to JavaScript. So we have seen how this JavaScript has been mapped to its original TypeScript file for debugging purpose. Today we will see how we can debug a Mocha or a Chai library for test runners. So Mocha is a test runner and Chai is an assertion library. Similarly, we had jest, which can be used for the similar purpose. So we have taken this exercise or code from our previous project where we have created TypeScript debugging project. So you can follow the link in the description how we had created it and how we had debugged it. So I will quickly go through it. So it's just a server.ts file. Then we had another file which is exporting multiply, and we are calling this in server.ts, and we are performing some operation like multiply. So these are two files which we will debug using Mocha and Chai. We will create a test cases on top of this. On the other side, we had this launch.json which will launch the program. So it will just run the JavaScript, so it will just run the TypeScript file. And the most important thing is like tsconfig.json. So here we have all the settings done, like what is the output directory source map and ECMAScript 17 and all what we will be using. So for testing, we need to install Mocha and Chai. So I will be installing both Mocha and Chai globally. npm install npm install mocha -g. And I'll install Chai also. So we need ts node, and we will install it in our package.json to vscode package.json. And here we will do one thing, we will install it together and do -- save deb. Oops, where is my package.json? Let me create something empty. And then so we had Chai, Mocha and ts node in deb dependencies. Next we will install typings. We'll install it first globally. So once it is installed, we will then install it in our deb dependencies using --save -deb. Next we will install types Chai and types Mocha or Mocha in deb dependency. And from the left side we had this debug option. In my last and this video, the icon got changed because Visual Studio has updated their IDE. So from the drop down, I will just give add configuration, and I will use Mocha tests. So if you have noticed that it takes an argument which looks for test inside workspace. And it will run from the node modules mocha bin then underscore mocha, and there are other arguments like ttd, or it may be bdd for JavaScript. Since we have TypeScript, so I will show you how to run or change those arguments. So I'll create a folder test. So it should be outside. So in package.json we will have scripts. So we will have various scripts like npm start, npm test. We can have other scripts to build and deploy. So I'll just add npm test and colon. So this is basically used not for debugging but for running the test cases. So we are using test runner mocha -r means recursive. So you'll be using ts node register. So this will help convert this and map those files. And we will look for all the ts files inside test folder. So its best practice is to write server-spec then .ts file, so or calculate-spec.ts file, but I will keep it like server.ts inside test folder. So if we run npm test, it will should. So you can see that there is no ts file inside test. So we'll create a test file server.ts. So we used @mocha @chai, so we have used @types mocha and @types chai. So our test cases are written in TypeScript. In order to convert this TypeScript or to make the test runner understand those TypeScript, we use those typings. So here I have imported chai, and what it does, it will test one, you may write, or what type of test it is, like array function, and it is trying to find the index of 4. So we are expecting in an array of 1, 2 and 3 the index of 4, which should be -1. So once you run npm test, it should show -1 and if the test case is passing. And if I change this -1 to something, or if I put 4 in the array list, just comma space 4 and npm test, so you can see that 4 is actually present and the index of 4 is 3. So our test case failed, so we'll just revert it back. So in arguments launch.json, instead of ttd we will use this ts node register, and the arguments -u will be changed to -r means recursive. So if you go to the debugging option and start mocha tests, no test files found. So it is searching for /test file. So we need to provide like star.ts after test folder, so we can have multiple test files. So once we run, we can see that debugging point is being hit, and once you release it, the test case are passed. We will close this unnecessary server.js file, which is not required. It makes us a little bit confusing. So what we will do is like we will now import calculate.ts and try to debug the multiply function. So we'll directly copy it from server.ts, paste it. So I'll just copy it and duplicate again and change the describe method to something like multiplication of 2 and 8 and should return 16. So it's just like a print statement, it has nothing to do. So if the test case fails in future, you can just copy it and search from which test file it got originated or which test file is failing. So what should expect? So before calculate, I need to create the object of calculator. So let calculate or cal equals to new calculator. Okay, cal dot multiplication. No, it should be multiply. Okay, the path is wrong. So now we can see this being populated. Cal dot multiply will pass 2 and 8. It should be equals to 16. So we'll make it 10 and try to make the test case fail. I'll just remove those debugging points and we can see our debugger is being hit at line 15. We'll put another debugger at line 3 and release the debugger, so it is being invoked, and we can see the value of A and B, which is 2 and 8 respectively, and C is still undefined because we need to go to line 4. So you can see that it is expecting 10 but the function returned 16. So I'll change this 10 to 16 and rerun the application. Debugger is attached. It's nice. Multiplication of 2 and 8 is being printed, and we are in now calculator and it's all passed. So both the test cases passed. So what we need to do is, like, after writing the test case, instead of starting the debugger, if you are confused that why the debugger is not working or there is some exception while starting the debugger, so in that case you need to first run npm test or run the script which is inside package.json script test and check if there is any error. If there is no error, then just go and update the ts config file. So that's all for this session, and if you have any doubt, then write in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe.